Tyler. Welcome to What the Music Means to Me. We're going to find out what this music means to you. We're going to talk about a song called Cooks by a band called Still Woozy. So Sven Gamsky is the artist's name. He's a one-person band, Still Woozy. He makes all of his music in his garage studio. Tyler, when did you first hear this song? How did you discover it?
So the first song I ever heard of Still Woozy's was Goodie Bag. Connor was playing it on Google downstairs. I just remember thinking like, oh, it sounds kind of like Chinese or something like that. Like just like the instruments that were going on in the song. And so I remember asking Connor, like, what's that like, what's that Chinesey sounding like? I don't know, it sounds Asian, it sounds like, I don't know, I couldn't describe it well, and so it took me forever to figure out what it was, and then I never listened to anything but that song, and then, like, over the course of, I don't know, a couple months, other songs of his, probably through Connor, started to, like, trickle in, and then that's when I heard it. So I kind of just put all his songs on my playlist.
Did you like the song right away?
I didn't like it right away. I didn't think it was notable right away. It wasn't like, oh man, this is my favorite song. I'm going to listen to it over and over and over.
What is it about the song that you like? Music or the lyric?
Well, I read a little quote by him that says like something about like it's kind of like melancholy, but also like hopeful at the same time. And it's kind of like a romance song, but it's not, but it feels real because it's not so over dramatized. Drama? I don't know. Melodramatic would be a better word. I don't know. It just, the things that he says in that song feel so complex. Instead of like, I love you and you don't love me and it sucks. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
It is almost kind of not an anti-romance song, but there's something, like you said, real about it. It talks about getting old. And yeah, it is kind of a weird combination of like hopeful but melancholy. What do you think about, why does he use those references of getting old? Like he talks about, what does he say? Being 80 confused without your pants. Talks about losing his keys again, burning dinner. Like these are kind of things that old people do. Why do you think he throws that in there or makes a song about it?
For a very long time, until I actually looked at the lyric, because I was looking at it for this interview, or maybe it was for making music videos, because I'll often listen to songs that I like and try to like fit lyrics into shots in my head or something like that. I didn't know that he said it feels like I'm 80. I thought it was I feel like a maniac.
Oh, or I feel
confused
like I'm
without my pants. I feel like I'm Asian and I don't know, playing a mandolin. What? So, old people. Yeah, so for me, it kind of, I mean, he says he goes through these like, oh, I lost my keys, I feel like I'm 80, I'm burning dinner, all these like mess ups and whatever. And then he says, and somebody takes my hand. Right? So it's weird that he has this focus on like kind of growing old together, but at the same time it's not necessarily that you're actually literally growing old, but that you feel confused and you feel like you don't have a grasp on everything that you're doing until somebody is in your life to help you and ground you. That's kind of what I felt like.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, that kind of being in love makes him dumb, maybe?
Yeah. And for me, like, that kind of holds a lot of weight because I feel like I've been focused on women forevs, dude. Like, I can't, I'm out in and out of relationships all the time. I mean, that's true. More than anyone else. And, like, the way that it's, like, melancholy like that, but also hopeful reminds me, and maybe this is further removed from his actual intended message, but it kind of reminds me of, like, how confused I feel when I don't have another person, how insecure I might be if I don't have somebody who can, I don't know, validate me, or, I don't know, make me feel wanted or something like that. I haven't been alone for a long time, like long periods of time, yeah.
I think that's interesting. I hadn't had that take on it. I was actually focused literally on growing old and what that's like, and him imagining himself growing old. But the idea that the reason he's lost and burning dinner and losing his keys and can't find his pants is because he's not in a relationship. But then someone takes his hand and grounds him and makes him safe or sane, or is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it like that. I think I'm like you, and probably, I don't know, maybe a lot of people are, maybe they're not. It seems normal to me because when I was probably junior high until I got married was just one relationship after another. I didn't go very long without being in a committed relationship, and I didn't like not being in a committed relationship. So it was usually just one after another. And for you, that's normal for you. So what I hear you saying, but you're also saying it's not necessarily normal for everybody else.
Like Harry, Michael, Muntis even, like no one is, I don't know, no one has really been in consistent, committed relationships. So it's weird. And I also think, like, when he says, well, I want you, baby, it's all I do. Come to meet me, baby, it's all I do. Baby, you're all I see. Like, it kind of reminds me of the tunnel vision kind of thing, where that is such a focus in my life that it kind of makes me forget about everything else. But I also want, I kind of weirdly, subconsciously maybe, kind of strive for that tunnel vision so that I can ignore the bad things that are happening in me, inside me or whatever, and then I can kind of just focus all my effort on whatever relationship that I'm in.
Would you say there's a boundary where that is not healthy, that focus on, feeling completed by another person, or that focus on romantic relationships?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at with the tunnel vision thing. It's like, it becomes, that's just all I care about. And it causes me to kind of forget to focus on even sometimes my friends. Like, I won't hang out with my friends as much, and I won't enjoy things as much, and I'll constantly be thinking about, like, am I texting her enough? Or, just pressuring myself into things like that. And also, I think it's just unhealthy generally to rely on other people for, like, validation in that extreme way. And I think it was once I started therapy and pretty close to when I started hanging out with Natalie as well, where I was like, you know what? I'm sick of tailoring my everything to whoever I'm dating, and I want to find my own personality, my own voice, my own music taste even, and just kind of work on what do I want to be. And then allow that to kind of control who I end up with, who I am, and who I, especially the parts of me that I've decided that I like.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think everyone really needs to find that balance between being themselves and authentic to who they are versus compromising and adapting and changing in appropriate ways to fit into the lives of other people. All right, cool. Well, changing topics. So your preferred genre and style of music is unique, like I guess everybody's is. I'm definitely unique to the rest of the people in our house. What do you think about that? How would you describe kind of your genres that you like, and why do you think they evolved, your preferences evolved the way they did?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, a lot of my actual music taste all stemmed from Connor for a really long time. I never really liked the screamo stuff, though, but I did kind of fall into that, like, I don't know what you want to call it, emo stuff way back when, like Bring Me the Horizon, whatever. But I can't really remember, and maybe it's when we moved here, maybe like freshman year when I actually started to take an interest in finding my own sound. Probably also when you gave me the Spotify account, so I don't know where it came from. I really don't. But I do feel like it feels more, definitely the longer time goes on, it feels more unique to me. I don't know.
If a playlist is playing in our house, you probably know who's listening. Like, you can tell, Marin's music is, mostly female singer-songwriters, and then she'll have like the Spanish song come in, or a church song will come in, and so oh, it must be Marin listening. And Connor, his style, and me, I'm sure you can tell who's...
Well, most of your songs I distinctly remember. Like, it's very rarely that a new song comes on. It always feels like it taps into some weird recess of my childhood, and I'm like, oh yeah, that song, and then I start singing the words, and I'm like, I don't even know the name of this song, but whatever.
I have the same experience listening to the songs that I was introduced to from my dad, that I never would have known otherwise. So yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, the evolution of your musical identity, let's say. So Spotify had something to do with it. So you had access to songs that other than what other people were playing. So that explains part of it. Going into junior high and then high school.
Oh, and I had I remember getting my first MP3 player, which is crazy, by the way. MP3 players? Oh my gosh, who has an MP3 player anymore? I just remember I actually still remember to this day, and I know this is, I know I'm kind of on a tangent right now, but I still remember to this day, sometimes a song will come on, and then right as it ends, I feel like it's about to lead into the next song that would be on my MP3 player, but it doesn't. It's so weird.
Yeah, it used to be like that for me. When I was your age, I would record songs onto mixtapes. We didn't have playlists, of course. So recording songs from either off the radio or from my other tapes or records in a certain order on a mixtape, and you always knew what was going to come up next, so you'd anticipate it. Now, I would say ever since recordable CDs and then MP3s and now Spotify and playlists, I always listen to all my music on shuffle. I never know what's coming next, which I really like. Well, Tyler, thanks for sharing your insights into this song. Now this song is meaningful to me because I know what it means to you, so you've introduced me to something new, which is awesome. We are going to now listen to Cooks by Still Woozy.